Yeah, welcome. So I was talking about how this case happened 6 months ago. Apparently, the young girl was
Assaulted.
drugged, and sexually assaulted. And it's been 6 months, no arrests, or we don't know what's going on. The police, and this is horrific. Underrepresentation of poor people and of females. How in the world can you have 6 months and nothing's happened? The police haven't given the parents anything. The mother said they haven't been forthcoming with anything. And all of a sudden, the guy's name is Gade, Fundile Gade, who's one of the ministers for education, or he's in the Department of Education in the Eastern Cape, says that, oh, don't worry, this week the principal has to come in and give DNA samples and such and such. If you are calling him in to bring DNA samples, it means you're saying that you think he's a suspect. Why is it now after 6 months? And I'm not saying he's a suspect, but to me, it seems like it's just reactionary because this thing has gotten on the news now and they want to talk about it. Have you noticed how nobody's talking about the mining incident anymore, about all those people that were under the ground dying? So it seems like the authorities in South Africa only react when something is a big story. On that same day she was raped, another 7-year-old boy was sexually assaulted in the same town. Nobody talks about that. So anyway, we're going to start with Alex because you're in South Africa. What are the facts that you know about this case? And if there's anything enlightening, because it seems like this case is shrouded in mystery.
Yes, this case, I feel kind of bad because I also just recently found out about this story, which, like you said, happened 6 months ago, which was October last year, when the mother found that, that had happened to her daughter. And it was only when she started posting on Facebook that the story started to get more attention, based off of that. And, so far, from what I've heard from her on the podcast that she did with Hopeful Revolution on YouTube, I feel like, I don't know if the principal is a suspect, because in the podcast, she says that usually there is a driver that picks up the children from that specific school, right? And then she said that on that specific day that she found out that about her child, the original driver that usually picks them up was not there, right? It turns out that the original driver called someone else to come to go and pick up the children for him. And he was 44 minutes late. So I don't know, man. Like, is it the principal? Is it the driver? The driver that came to fill up the spot for that other driver? I don't know. But like so far,
nobody knows. But my thing is, why did the principal not report this to the authorities? And also, when did the mother find out? Did she find out when it happened or 6 months after?
Okay, from the podcast, she said that so this happened during the weekday, right? When she actually got raped. But she found out that something was wrong with the child during the weekend when they were having a family function. She said it was a party because she also has another child who's a year old. They were having a party for the child. And then that's when Checwe, the victim, mentioned that she was having stomach pains and it was difficult for her to sit down. That's when the mom said, okay, let me give you some pills. Maybe you'll be fine after that. But even though the child had some pills, she still was not feeling well. So that's when the mother suggested that they go to a general practitioner, right? So when they went to the general practitioner, that's when, no, I'm wrong. Before she went to the general practitioner, the child mentioned that it was painful for her to sit, right? And the mother was like, okay, let me inspect you. When she inspected the child, that's when she found out that,
penetrated or whatever.
Penetrated, like from anal, right? So, yeah, but like she says, when she noticed that, she didn't immediately think of rape. She thought maybe it was, I don't know, some other thing. So that's when they went to the GP the following day. When they went to the GP, that's when the doctor informed her that, your child has actually been molested. It was not only anal, it was also on the vagina, right?
Vagina, yeah.
So
yeah.
So the thing is that this is 6 months ago.
This was 6 months ago.
The police should have found out who were all the people she was in contact with that day, and they should have been asked to bring in DNA. The police, they destroyed this case. The police destroyed it. The principal, I'm not holding him accountable. To be honest with you, I don't know. I'm not going to say he did anything. I don't think so. But the principal himself was not forthcoming to give information. And maybe the school told him, don't say anything because it'll keep us liable if we had strangers pick up the kids, any number of things. But this child was failed. There's been a white girl. I promise you, man, they would have found them in a week. That's all I got to say. Yep. What do you think? What do you think of Folabi?
Yeah, I quite agree with you. And it's really very disturbing that this kind of case that is about 6 months old is yet to be investigated thoroughly. And from the little I read over the internet, it appears the principal may just be culpable for the simple reason that he's been reluctant to cooperate with investigations.
Yeah.
Basically, he's been very reluctant. They've asked for the DNA test. I mean, he should have released the DNA test to the police, and there should be have been a media, press conference with the details, of the DNA test, because that is going to help go a long way to solve the mystery behind this. And some of these private schools, they are owned by rich, affluent people that are in government. They tend to bury cases like this. They're not like the public schools where everything is, controlled and regimented. So it's just so sad.
And the school has now been deregistered because it's public.
Yes,
and now they're saying, oh, he will come for DNA. Now there's another person that they said, they hinted that there's another person who's non-staff that they've suspended, and they also going to take his DNA. So they're reacting, and this is my point. I'm keeping it real. If this had been a white private school for white kids, and a white girl got raped, whether it's a white person or a black person who did, the principal, everybody will be outraged, and they will get to the bottom of it within minutes. Minutes. In South Africa, if you're black, your life matters nothing. If you're female, it matters nothing. That's not just South Africa. Same thing in America. If you're a black male, nobody gives a shit about you. If you're a black female, they disrespect you. This is a problem in settler countries. America, South Africa, Brazil. Black people are not humans, and the government will not spend money, whether it's black or white. What are your thoughts, Saeed?
Yeah, I think you already took out my point, because from whether the rape or the school or the principal, I think that is just like scratching the surface of what we
there's other shit going on.
Need to tackle in Africa. So like we, even over the world, we now know that child molestation is going on. Like it's now a big, they kind of have a big ring of leadership. Like so many of all these big leaders, they are engaging in having molesting
like the guy who got killed in the US.
Children and
Bill Clinton
I think
the young girl.
Jeffrey Epstein case.
The
Jeffrey Epstein case. So it shows that. It shows that high power people are engaged in this stuff. So,
but the difference is that when white people they still look out for themselves a little bit. You get my point. If a white, like for example, we caught Jeffrey.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's where I'm even heading. That white people they actually put in work in getting justice. It's not like we black people. Like majority of our black leaders, they don't really want justice for us. Truly, they are just they'll just make speeches, and after speeches, no action. But you see a white woman or a white parent still going every day to ask info about what's going on, adding pressure. But
and the black police,
black parents, they don't.
The black police will say, "Don't worry, ma'am. We're going to help you."
So instead of them to get to the bottom of the case, they won't. They will just let it slide. Okay, probably you see, and this thing happens a lot in Nigeria too. A case that you're supposed to make sure that you get justice for your child. If something like that happens, you just see the perpetrators just come to the family and offer money or offer settlement, and everything dies, which is not supposed to be. The person is supposed to go to jail, so that it can count as an example for anybody who wants to do it. But in Nigeria, you just see settle. In Africa, you hear the family, you just okay, I'm sorry, how can we, something that you are not supposed to even entertain.
And then 5 years from now, if the girl is an alcoholic and doing drugs and a prostitute, they'll say, "Oh, you're an evil person." No, all of these things are rooted in abuse.
Yeah, exactly.
And this is an indirect form of genocide where females and black people are allowed to be destroyed this is how whites are winning. And the whites don't have to do anything. It just happens because that's just the way the social political structure works. What do you think, Alex? Yeah.
I agree with you. I feel like we are our own enemy at this point. Like, especially in South Africa, where now majority of the police are literally black people.
Yeah.
So it really baffles me why there wasn't enough force into getting the principal to submit his DNA, and also the other people who might have been involved. Because the mother mentioned that she did go to the police station, and when she approached this police officer, she said, okay, I want to submit a case. My child has been raped. And the woman literally replied to her, according to her, the woman said, I don't understand how a 7-year-old cannot really point out who it is that really raped her.
Can you imagine?
Like, does that make sense to you? Like, does that make sense? She's a child.
And she may even have forgotten it and
You can imagine. You can
People-
imagine.
Yeah, like she's been through trauma. How can she remember that?
No, these guys.
But that's so sick. A 7-year-old is vulnerable. She may not even muster the courage and the mental capacity to even articulate what happened.
Yeah, and she was drugged also, so that makes it so her memory's not going to be so great. You get my point. She was drugged.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a serious case. Go ahead. Sorry, continue, Alex. Yeah.
So you can imagine how it is for even an adult woman who's been raped to go to the police in South Africa and say, I've been raped.
Oh yeah, they'll start asking you what clothes did you wear, shit like that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, what does it matter? And then another thing that really pained me was that the mother has also been raped before. She mentioned, and the perpetrator got out of jail through bail, and it just now feels like
a problem. Like it's a serious problem in SA. I'm not trying to point out SA. I'm just saying they do have a serious problem with that. Like those guys that raped the ladies in the middle of a video shoot. And they just came with machine guns. This shit has got to stop. And South Africa is a rich country, and it's not spending money. The resources of South Africa, which are great, which makes it richer than any European country, aren't being spent on housing, security, and the well-being. There's too much of a gap of economic wealth. And then those who are rich have 11 seconds.
Mustafa, you know that in America now, they are now pushing all these kind of people. They are pushing to be recognized. Like they are claiming that they are attracted to young kids or something.
Oh yeah,
I think they want to join the LGBTQI something.
Yeah. Okay. Let me say this much though.
Pedophile. Yeah.
I think if you have sex with a minor, that's rape no matter what. But let's even say that these ones that are saying they want to be accepted, they're doing it against the will of the children. Do you see what I'm saying?
It is not even something that we should be debating. As in, whoever.
No, trust me, I know. I know. I know. They want to add pedophilia to the spectrum of identity. It's crazy, man.
Whatever they call it. Like, it's crazy.
They want to add that.
Yeah, really crazy. And they are, what really pains me most is that they are entertaining this idea. It is not something that. How could you say you are attracted to young kids? They are trying to justify it. Justify what?
They can't justify it. You know what you got to do?
That is why they always start all this kind of ideology from America. They know that if America accepts it, the whole world would accept it.
If you're addicted to young children, then you're supposed to be chemically castrated, which means they give you chemicals.
Exactly.
Which give you chemicals which stunt your whatever. Oh, I hate to say it, or you'll marry a 30-year-old who looks like they're 12. I'm serious. I'm serious. Marry somebody who's old enough that looks young. I'm being funny, but in reality, this is sick. So we're having this problem all over the world of gender-based violence. We're going back to the hip-hop where they shot a girl, they shot a woman, and all the rap guys are smiling and laughing and stuff. So women are disrespected. Even if you look at female hip-hop now, it's becoming more raunchy than the guys because they realize the only way they can sell albums is to objectify their bodies. So we have a big problem in the black community worldwide. It's a serious problem. But this is shocking that they don't have any facts on this. And I put this on the police. More than the police. But let me switch over topics quickly. So AfriForum, it's funny how they use the word Afri to make them sound like they're Africans, but they're really Afrikaans. They're not African. They're not black. But anyway, they're defending the principal. And no problem, you're defending him. But right now you have a girl who's been raped. If I were them, I wouldn't put my name to this case. I would stay far away from it. rather than defending, because it seems like they're only defending him because he's white. If this was a black person, if this was a black principal, I don't know if AfriForum would have stood by him. What are your thoughts about that? Afolabi, the beer almost got me. Afolabi.
Yeah, I'm surprised that we have this guy supporting the principal. You know, he has frustrated every step that has been taken to unravel this mystery. And basically, the way I feel is that if you look at the case now, they are talking about, for instance, the case, the DNA test. They've gotten the results, but they refuse to make it public. Why is that? That thing is going to solve a lot of things, whether it is the hair or the skin or semen on the body of the child.
It's going to solve this thing secret.
Yeah, they're keeping it secret. They shouldn't do that. At least a little bit of transparency on the part of the authorities would go a long way to satisfy the people that are
corruption.
Exactly. Corruption, yeah, and that's why the government has to come in, because it's a microcosm of what happens in South Africa as a whole. They have to separate it from education. Very, very corrupt. The drugs, the poverty, and everything is just spilling over to education, basically.
Just like Oprah had a school in South Africa, which they had to, I think they had to shut it down because the staff were abusing the kids. Oprah didn't do anything to step in either. You get my point? So it seems like we've let down our kids. We've let down our kids. What were you going to say? Yeah. Alex, yeah.
I said there was also a lot of missing girls from Oprah's school. Yeah. Very interesting.
I'm not going to lie to you. This is going to sound terrible. If I was a billionaire and it happened in my school, I would be so ashamed that I get hitmen to kill everybody. I'm serious. People would die. My name wouldn't be beside it. What I mean by kill, I'd pay investigators, find out who did this shit. They'd be tied up and put somewhere. I hope YouTube doesn't ban me. But no, seriously.
Authorities should be more decisive.
I can't stand Oprah. I can't stand her. And then she had the nerve. They said, Oprah, you're starting a university in South Africa for millions. What about the black kids in America? They said, oh, blacks in America are lazy. They don't deserve it. It's the same thing. It'll just be like us saying, oh, in South Africa, you're lazy. We have black children who are also suffering here. She did it because she wanted a photo shoot. And I say it's a good thing she started that school, but you're a billionaire and you start a school, kids go missing, they get killed. If you're a billionaire, you should make sure the school is run properly and things like that don't happen. What are your thoughts? Alex, then we'll go to Saeed. Yeah.
Yes, I mean, Oprah, I feel like she's always been shady, especially with the people that she's always around with. Like, I heard that she was around Jeffrey Epstein a lot. So I was like, if they're missing girls, does that mean that she was selling these girls to...
She might have been. She might have been. Yeah.
The elite in America. Like, I feel like that's what she was doing. She's always been shady, never really trusted her, never really
liked. Sell your soul to the devil to become rich, right? Yeah. That's what she did, basically.
She's a very dubious person. I've never liked her myself.
Yeah, no, I've never. So anyway, so the issue here is that I like Tyra Banks, but Tyra Banks is a little bit of an airhead, but I liked her because she's emotional, but at least she keeps it real. She'll cry on her model show. Anyway, that's another story for another day. But so this is a big problem, not just this all over, where black kids, females, and females in general, nothing's being done. Like in the US, you have like a lot of...
In Africa, we all know that. That's why you keep seeing so many organizations protecting women, and some another organization calling themselves feminists, this feminist. Like, I think we've all agreed that in Africa, women are less protected. As in, they are very, very less protected.
Vulnerable. They are very, very vulnerable.
Yeah.
Also,
you can even imagine what happened to Natasha, a whole senator in Nigeria. You can see how she's been bamboozled, oppressed.
What happened? Can you give us some background on the story? I know the story, but for the viewers, what was the story? Yeah. Sorry, just for those who don't know, what's the background for Natasha?
Yeah, like the Senate president and the rest of this, they suspended her for what? Because she's trying to make a point that you can't just change my seat, or even if you change my seat, I have the right to, they are, as in, she followed the rules, but they are now making it to look as if she did not follow the rules. And in part of the rules, there is something they call order 10 that can allow her to speak, as in more like an emergency, like, this is an emergency. Can I quickly say what I want to say? They refuse. So, and she's not saying that the Senate president, because of what has been happening between her and she and the Senate president, that the Senate president is trying to get in between her pants and all that stuff, and it has been happening for months.
Yeah.
So
And
she
this is
now
serious.
calculated
It's
this
a
is the
serious
more
problem
reason why.
because
Yes, so
cultures are.
this is more like the reason why you are doing this to me, because I didn't allow you to get into my pants. You
Yeah.
understand? So this is more like just oppressing, like you are a woman, you are a
Sexual,
female.
it's another form of
I'm a
sexual
man.
harassment.
Yeah, I can do what I want to do.
Yeah.
Pure harassment, and
All
because
right.
he knows that he can go away with it, and a lot of people have been going away with it in Africa. African men, we do a lot of things to women that on a good day, if you have a very good law, you are supposed to go jail for it. But
Yeah. So like
most African men are going.
if a wife runs away, they can cut off her foot. The house of the Europe, no, the house of some of the Islamic society, they can cut off the foot. You marry a child you marry her when she's 10 years old to a grown adult, she runs away, then they cut off her foot.
All these things are not going to change until we get the right leadership in Africa.
Also, circumcision, female circumcision too, against the will. It's really bad. Yeah. But anyway, so we're going to continue because I have to head out. But we're going to continue because this story is still developing. We'll probably be back on Thursday. Any last thoughts, Afolabi?
Yeah, I just want, I'm just so, I think the government, or is it the Department of Education? I think it was too little, too late. I think the school should have been deregistered a long time ago, not just now. And there should be stricter and harder penalties for this kind of thing. If the school is not cooperating with the investigation, then shut it down, for goodness sake. And let that.
Yeah, that's what this is about money. It's about money.
Let a message be sent across that for posterity, people can't get away with murder when it comes to abusing young children.
No, because I have a son, when I was young, I was scared to drop him at the babysitters because, maybe I remember he had Russian babysitters, which actually ended up being a good thing because he learned how to count in Russian. I used to say, did they do anything to you? But I was a 4-year-old. So you have to be at ease when you send your children to school. You have to be at ease. Like in the U.S., you won't believe this. This woman sent her child to school in New York and the child died because it was a poor woman. And poor people send them to one house with a bunch of people. And they were putting fentanyl under the pillows where the children sleep. And the child died because the fentanyl went from the pillow into the child's face. And also in the U.S., two black women started a fighting school where they made the kids fight each other and they gambled on it. They're betting money on children fighting each other. So what that means is that if you're poor, your children are lost because while you have to go to work, they're being abused. All right. Any last words, Alex? Then we'll head out. Yeah.
What I've realized is that no matter the decade, no matter the year, no matter the country, women and children will never be safe.
That's the problem. Except for maybe for now. White,
I just think it's more common in third world countries, especially
maybe in
India.
Britain. If you're a white woman who makes $500,000 a year, then you're safe. That's about
you're
it.
Safe. You're white woman.
I think my final thought will go to the South African government. They should try and make Africa proud by making sure that justice is done. The rest of African countries, we are looking up to them. Like South Africa is more like one of the best, if not top 3 of the best African countries. So we are expecting them to do better. We are in 2025. Things like this shouldn't be go unsolved or something. They should find solution to it. We are in 2025 for goodness sake. So many ways they can get the perpetrators and bring justice to it.
They can find
so they should just do something good.
All right, take us out real quick. I'll follow me with the outro.
Okay, it's been another very interesting, introspective show. Rather very, very on a somber note. And from Saeed, from Alex. It's been wonderful having Alex and Mustafa as well. Mama, I'm still
thank you. So we'll be covering it during the week. We'll be covering it. Good one, guys. Thank you.